codes. And then here's the sort of free-soldered, and then they put this in their hat. So then when they walked around, it would turn off any TV they looked at. So what's interesting is instead of when you had the original TV be gone, you actually have to sit and point. And they decided that wasn't subversive enough for them. So they actually added more. And I like that. It's good because it means that this is sort of, people are really understanding that this design noir is about being sneaky. This person, she put it in her old iPod, so she would look like she was looking at her iPod when she was really trying to turn off televisions. And this one, this is the kit version. They put it in a cell phone. So you can pretend like you're text messaging, but really you're turning off TVs everywhere. And one of the nice things about Mitch having authored this project is when you get to the discourse and dialogue part of Design Noir, you really get to see it up close and personal. So for example, you get a lot of really positive comments. So this is someone who says, "I got it yesterday! Exclamation point, exclamation point. I turned off TVs. It's awesome, nobody even notices." And so this is kind of nice because people understand the point of your project and they go out and they actually use it. And then there's some people who have that opposite response. So this guy said, "If you ever turned off a TV around me, I'd kick your fucking ass. There's nothing wrong with TV." TV does not cause violence, okay? If you're wondering if there's a tie, I think this is proof. So I think it's very interesting. I mean, these are very polarizing projects. I mean, there's people who love and hate the jacket, and there's people who love and hate the TV be gone. Although when you actually put it in their hand, everyone really loves it. And I've never seen anyone throw it away. Whereas he hates televisions, I'm really tired of cell phones. Everyone's always talking on cell phones so loudly. Everyone has these really loud ringtones. And I decided, well, instead of just complaining about how I hate going to dinner and having it be disrupted by cell phones, I would do something about it. So for my thesis, I decided to do an RF jammer. So this is here. And there's actually a bunch of RF jammer designs on the web, but I wanted to do one that was completely open source and also modular. So using a phase lock loop, and also you can exchange which voltage-controlled oscillator you use. You can change it from cell phone to Wi-Fi to Bluetooth to RFID to GPS. So you can decide what it is that you want to block. And basically, since everyone always asks, like, how does it work? Well, it's really, really simple. Basically, you have the voltage-controlled oscillator, and it oscillates at like 2 gigahertz. And then you basically just sweep noise through the band that is used by the device you're trying to jam. So this is a frequency analyzer, and you can see a spectrum analyzer, and you can see that there's just this big square. And that's the frequencies being jammed. And if you kind of look at the bottom, it's where the start and stop is, you can tell that it's 1.9 to 2 gigahertz. That's PCS band. So that would be blocking American cell phones. So basically, when you turn it on, people just get no signal. Call was lost. So here's a couple that I made for iBeam. iBeam actually commissioned me to finish this project. They're an art group in New York, and they auctioned these off. And here's just some images because people want to usually look up close. You can see the strip line antennas on the top, so the antennas are actually built in. So we often end up using these in cabs, because I don't know if here, but in America, cabbies are always talking on their wireless phones, so they end up getting into accidents. So it's important to have one of these with you for your safety, so you can turn this on. And you can see there's actually a cell phone battery inside that's used. And this is some more detailed photos of the voltage-controlled oscillator, and on the other side, the phase lock loop and the digital section. So one of the problems with cell phone jammers is that in America we have the FCC, and they actually have a lot of laws about who can use spectrum and what you can do. Turns out that harmful interference, basically trying to disable another device, including even kits or parts, is illegal. And in specific, the manufacture, importation, sale, or offer of sale, including advertising, of devices designed to block or jam wireless transmissions is prohibited. Fines for a first offense can range as high as $11,000 for each violation. That's like 30 euros. Or imprisonment for up to 1 year. But it turns out that they actually don't say anything about documentation. They never say it's illegal to teach people how to make cell phone jammers. So I'm assuming it's, I don't know, nobody's broken down my door yet, but I'm assuming that this actually is okay. So what I did is I just open sourced the whole thing. And so I have a website with, step-by-step instructions, and here's the parts list, or part of it. There's dozens of parts, but sort of, all the parts, of course, are easy to get from any electronics supply website. You can, build it yourself. So you can go through each part, open up the data sheet, order it from the website. They show up at your door. This is the circuit board layout. It's a double-sided circuit board. So some people have etched them, but you can also send it away and have it made by a circuit board house. And then there's instructions on how to build it step by step, test the power supply, test the oscillators, test the phase lock loop. So again, you can see how using the TV Be Gone or using the cell phone jammer sort of create this element of control. Taking back personal space is how I framed it. Instead of having your eyeballs and your ears being attacked by televisions and cell phones, now you have a way of controlling that space for you. And subversion, of course, using the TV Be Gone, you can be very secretive about it. And most people don't even understand, most people aren't aware that these exist. So, you can go ahead and turn off a TV and most people will just be like, what happened? If they even notice. And then the critical discourse and dialogue, which is people sort of talking about whether they think this is a good idea or a bad idea. And again, the functionality agency, you can buy this TV Be Gone, and the first time you use it, you're really excited because you just did something really kind of wrong, but at the same time feels really good. And I think that's an important part of design noir. You have to have that agency. So I also got some reactions a year ago, exactly when I released the Wave Bubble project. So some people really liked it because they could think of situations in which they were in a movie theater or a church or a coffee house, and phones were ringing, or even in classes, the phones were ringing, or people talking on the phone rudely. And so a lot of people said, I really want one, I'm going to build it. And in fact, on my website, there's a wiki now, and a couple dozen people are building them, and successfully. So that's kind of good, and they share a lot of the techniques that they used. And then some people were really angry, and some people thought I was a terrorist because this technology could be used for evil. So that's actually important. I don't necessarily think that terrorists use these devices. In fact, the US Army uses cell phone jammers, or has used cell phone jammers to block IEDs in Iraq because they use cell phones to trigger them. But I think that people get very offended because they think of situations in which they may have had an important phone call, or they may have an important phone call and they don't want to be blocked. What I really liked was this one fellow actually sort of, without having read about design noir, sort of understood the whole concept behind it. So that was good. Somebody got the point of the project. Okay, thanks. Okay. I was told that there would be, I should leave lots of time for questions. So if people have questions, they should go to the microphones. And there's the URL again if you want to go to the websites.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, it's working. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your talk. I really enjoyed it. When you mentioned that you really hated mobile phones, I was wondering if you'd thought about that other recent annoying output of mobile phones. I don't know if it's happened in the US, but ever since phones started being able to play MP3s as ringtones, it's sort of like everyone has drunk some bad tap water and they've forgotten about the invention of headphones. And people are walking around listening to really shitty, tinny music on their mobile phones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do radio jamming-wise to stop that. Do you know what we can do that doesn't involve like a brick? What's
really interesting, well, bricks do work, but what's interesting is actually a lot of people ask me if there's a way to block car speakers. Apparently, everyone sort of, or car alarms. If you don't use the ringtone if the ringtone is not actually a ringtone, unfortunately, I haven't quite figured out how you could do this. Although, if you really wanted to annoy somebody in the audience, Mr. Alex Mavet worked on a project where you could use sonar waves to sort of to create sound in your head. So in theory, if you knew what the song was, you could invert it and create a noise-canceling headphone just in somebody's head. But I don't know. He'll have to tell me if that's actually possible. But sadly, I don't think I haven't been able to figure out a way to block car stereos or ringtones, unless you have just a louder ringtone or car stereo. So, Brick may be the only solution right now. Sorry. Any more questions? No? You have to go to the microphone.
Hi.
Oh, too late.
In most talks I heard today, there was actually some cell phone ringing. In yours, there wasn't any. I'm just wondering why.
No, I think there's just bad cell phone reception. I was actually going to do a demo, but the Wi-Fi here is so bad, it wouldn't even matter. But at South by Southwest, we did a demo at South by Southwest, and what was great is that, I don't know if people here do it, but at South by Southwest, everyone was doing Twitter, which is like this SMS blogging thing. And what was great is that people were like trying to send and receive Twitters, and on the log, there was somebody saying, oh, she's about to turn on the, and then there was nothing for 30 minutes. So apparently it worked, and people were really frustrated, so that was kind of good.
Can I? Hello? Yeah, I had to buy plasma displays for my old company 2 years ago, and they were really nice because you could turn off the remote control.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it dates back then, the TV be gone.
I don't know what's up, but it's interesting because we were just in New York City and we went to the NBC, the national broadcasting, it's a big television station in the US, and they actually have like this studio in New York, and they have TVs showing what they're displaying. We tried to turn them off, and they said can't be turned off by remote control, so somebody knows what Mitch is up to. You can also just put tape over the IR port. Yeah, no, I've actually, this was the first time we saw it, but it could be that people were tired of having their displays be turned off by remote control.
Also, for the music problem, you can buy small devices that submit on radio channels.
Yeah.
And I like to go to the media market or big store and play my music for this time.
Yeah, I feel bad for Media Market. They're just getting attacked here.
Or if I get a haircut or something, they always play bad music.
Yeah.
I'll change that.
No, it's actually, a lot of people buy FM transmitters and use them to transmit into cars. I mean, if the car next to you has a loud stereo and they're playing radio music, you can, of course, use an iTrip or something similar to just sort of override that signal. That works pretty well. Or somebody, I remember somebody asked me, you know, how could the alarm clock of their neighbor always played Rush Limbaugh in the morning and they wanted to do something about it, so I suggested using that. And they said it worked great, so they said it was successful.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, somebody hacked the LED displays in the New York subway. At least in one in West 4th Street, Washington Square, to say, it was some silly message like, will all the pretty girls please put their hands up or something.
Yeah, it's probably Jenny Holzer or something, right?
No, I was just thinking, do you know anything about that?
No, but I wasn't living in New York then, but all LED signs actually use, I'm not exactly sure, but the ones that I've seen use sort of like a wireless keyboard, and it's just like RS-232 over IR. So, you know, once you, and I don't even think there's any sort of key exchange or anything, so you probably could take any LED IR keyboard and go up to the display and just type in whatever you want.
Okay.
Not that I would suggest you do that, but...
No, just an idea. I mean, of course...
Wait, there's no LEDs displays in the New York subway. What are you talking about?
Yes, there are, on the escalators.
Oh, okay.
They only say things like, keep your hands off the escalator or something, but...
You're thinking of some city with like real subway where they display when the train's showing up next. They don't do that
Yeah, that'd
anymore.
be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You should do that. You should hack it so it actually displays when the next train's going to show up. That'd be very useful. Instead of like, watch your belongings. It's a good idea. Now you give me a good idea.
Yeah. Well, Maybe I'll say that cannabis is legal or something.
All right.